So you mentioned your grandpa coming to Arizona and someone gave him land or he was able to lease land. What brought him to Arizona in the first place?
When he came through California. He stayed there for a little bit, and it was after he was there for a little while, he learned from the other Japanese and Japanese community there that actually, if he had, because he joined the Japanese army when he was 15, and he served 2.5 years in Japanese army, and decided he wanted to explore. So he decided to come to America. So he worked like a year and a half on a ship as a cook in order to pay his passage for him to America. And once he was here, he learned that if he would have served another like 6 months, he would have earned himself a pension
Oh,
in Japan. And he said, well, if he'd known that, he might have just served that extra 6 months, got a pension, and got a job as a courier or something. But he wanted to explore, so he came to the United States, paid his passage on a ship, and then he was in California for a little bit. Then he decided to come to Arizona. And then he said, "Oh, I'll be a farmer." So he would actually farm. He worked with a man that taught him everything about farming, and then he gave him some property. He said, "Hey, you've done a good job for me. Here's some property. See what you can do on your own." So he would actually bring workers. At that time, you could get certificate and actually be allowed to bring workers from Mexico. So he would drive, take his wagon, go across the border. Who wants to come work for me? And he would do that. He did that for a while, and that's actually how he met my grandmother. She was one of the workers that he had brought over at one time. So that's how they met.
that's amazing. Was it all before World War II?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your grandmother and your grandfather are farming in all over the valley, and World War II happens, and
Hmm.
he ultimately doesn't have to go to the internment camps, but a lot of his friends did, it sounds like.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
If they happen to have their house closer in the city, yeah. Because a lot of back then there wasn't like 7th Avenue, 19th Avenue, Indian School. Everything was like latitude, longitude. So
Mhm.
if you look at some of my aunts, and trying to think if my mom's, if Kashiro's grandmother's birth certificate, it'll say longitude quadrant or whatever. It won't have like their street address. They'll say longitude or whatever, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's Indian school." And one of them, they understood that speak, longitude. It was really weird.